welcome back to Mama's Kitchen. Promised you that we would do steam pudding today, so we're going to show you how it goes. Now this may be a little bit lengthier, way lengthier than all our chocolate extravaganza recipes that we've been doing of Linda Duncan's, but it'll be worth it, okay? So I've got a heavy bottom pot, just a small bottom pot, and I've put in 1 cup, half a cup of white sugar, and I'm just going to let that start to caramelize or burn. Now, the darker it is, the bitterer it becomes. The bitterer, is that a word?
The more bitter?
The more bitter it becomes. So we don't want it to like go black and all the rest of it. It will smoke a little bit, but we don't want it to go black because we don't want bitter pudding, do we? No. In the meanwhile, I've got my big pot, again, another heavy bottom one, and I've just filled it up with water so that it can start to boil, so that we can get things going as we speak. So you can just start to see it. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. It's just starting to caramelize. Can you see? Okay, so we're just going to let that come in. Have a look. There you go. Bubble, bubble. We're not going to stir that. Don't feel tempted to stir that. Now the other thing that I've done is I've boiled the jug, okay, in preparation for adding hot water to this. So this is the first process because we need to burn our sugar or caramelize our sugar, and then we need to let it cool after we've added the water. So let me get this done and then I'll show you what it looks like in a minute, eh? There's my sugar already. Okay, I've just taken it off the heat because it's still quite hot on that element. Now here's my hot water. Now I'm going to add it bit by bit because it's going to pop and sizzle and do a big stink.
How much water?
A cup of boiling water. Okay, now, okay, are you ready? Just stop talking. You hear that popping and complaining? So be careful, be really careful because this is flipping hot. There we go. And then that'll just dissolve. See the toffee down the bottom? That'll dissolve, and then we need to let that cool down. Okay, so in the meanwhile we've got 250 grams worth of butter in here, and we are going to add a cup and a half of sugar. A cup and a half of sugar. I'm going to soften my butter up in the microwave, and then I'm going to beat it up. Can't beat it up with my hand beater because I forgot to pick one up, didn't I? Mine blew up like a couple of weeks ago. But we can beat it with our arms. It's not going to be pretty, but we can do it. So let that cool down. Let me start to beat this up and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. Whatever we're up to. Right, the butter's been softened and we've added a cup and a half of white sugar. Okay, you can use raw sugar if you want to, but yeah, you figure it out. Anyway, I'm a bit of an instant gratification girl, so I've put this into cold water so that our syrup has cooled down. It is, yeah, it's nearly cool enough. But I'm going to let that continue to cool down, and I'm going to beat this up until it is most of the sugar is dissolved. Okay, so I'm not going to show you what that looks like because it's an ugly sight watching me go away, Liz. Watching me beat like this. So let me beat this up. You'll also know when the sugar starts to dissolve, and this is quite yellow, but when it's ready it will become lighter in colour, okay? And remember also, the more you get into beating, the fluffier it'll become, okay? And that's what we want fluffy puddings. So let me do this, let me cool that down, and then I'm going to add one by one 3 eggs. You don't need to watch me do that, do you? You're all good? Bright people, remember that. Okay, so let me do this. Use caster sugar, way quicker, particularly when your blinking beaters
Cacked itself.
Yeah, carved it, exactly. So 1 egg at a time, okay? Add an egg, beat that in, and then when it's completely beaten, so beat it for 5 minutes first, add 1 egg. Beat it for 2 minutes, add another egg. Beat it for 2 minutes, add another egg, okay, till you've got 3 eggs in there, okay? And I'll meet you back here in a few minutes. This, see, nice and fluffy. And I must say, while I sat there beating the little sucker to death, somebody's revving their car, Brooklyn sat there and watched. So,
good on you, Mama.
So, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to add my flour, my nutmeg for flavour, and my, I can't remember what else. Let me figure that out and I'll show you what it looks like. Now, Brooklyn handed me this cup so that we could put the flour in. Don't use that cup, okay? Yeah. Use the same cup that you used for the water, okay? Whenever you're doing your baking and things like that, use the same cup. Same cup for sugar, same cup for flour. That way your measurements are going to be consistent. Okay. No, it's all good. It's all learning. Okay, now we're going to add our flour. How much flour do we need to add, Lizzo?
2.5 cups.
2.5 cups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a cup and a quarter of self-raising and a cup and a quarter of plain. Okay. If you want to be pedantic about it, add 2.5 cups of flour and maybe 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay.
Self-raising.
Yeah. So we're doing half self-raising and half plain. And I have added a heaped teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Now I like ground nutmeg, you might not like it. That's all good, you don't have to add it to it at all. So I'm going to add the flour and it's going to make quite a dense mixture because remember we've also got to add that syrup. So give me a few minutes to do that and I'll show you what it looks like. A quarter of self-raising flour and a cup and a quarter of plain flour, and we've mixed it up into our butter and egg mixture, sugar and egg mixture, okay? So it's quite thick. So I'm going to add our syrup, which is cold. You don't want to add hot syrup because it's going to melt your butter, okay? And then we're just going to mix this in. Yum! Now, some people rub their butter into the flour. It's all good. I don't think it really matters. These puddings are pretty forgiving, which is great. And it's going to, after I finish mixing this, I should really use a big spoon. This one. Because apparently the metal spoons stop the air bubbles from breaking. I believe whoever said that. So add the rest of your syrup. Mix it in and it should look like peanut butter. Peanut butter, thick peanut butter consistency. Okay? In the meanwhile, my pot's boiling, the water's starting to boil. Let me mix this in and I'll show you what it looks like. Afterwards, don't forget to get your oven bags together and your tins that you have. I hammered that down just before. Okay, so here's my 2 baked bean tins. You can do one bigger tin, but it's going to make it quicker to do it this way. I'm all into quick. See you soon. So here's your mixture.
Peanut butter.
Yep. So that's the consistency that it is. Okay, so I'm going to get our bags, which these ones are whoppers, and I'm going to put probably about maybe 2 tablespoons of flour, just plain flour, into them and give them a shake. Just helps line it and makes me feel better about myself. I don't know why we do that. Okay, look, back in the days, my grandmother used to do boiled puddings in old, wasn't muslin cloth, it was like calico. So she used to wet her calico, a big square, had to be a good sized piece of calico. She used to wet it after washing it. She'd lay it out on the bench, flour it, and I think she even added, no, I think she just floured it, plain floured it, put this in the middle, and then gathered it all up so that it was in one
bunch,
that's it. One bunch. And she had a fist here, so the cake was here, or the batter was here, and then she tied a knot here that gave it room to grow. Okay, and that's what they did. And then she chucked it straight into the hot water with the lid on top, and they had boiled pudding, but we're just doing steamed pudding. Okay, so if you want to try it that way, go for gold and show us your pictures. Okay, in the meanwhile, I'm going to flour my bags, put this into the bags and put them into the tins, and I'll show you what that looks like. Right, we've got a little bit of flour in here, shaking it up so that it's all lined, and then we're just going to dump the excess, okay? And now we're going to fill our bags up. Now remember, we want it about yay high, so
3/4 full.
Yeah, about that much. 3 times over into a bag.
You're the worst.
I know, it's true. Okay, so let me do that and I'll show you what that looks like. But I am the cameraman. So just carefully put it in there, Lizzo. That's the way you can do it. Beautiful.
Took both of my bag.
Yeah, so just keep it as clean as you can. Okay, that's it, really. And then, see this? About, you need to add a little bit of room here so that it can grow, okay, and not explode. Okay, so let us finish this up and then put it into the tins and we'll go from there. Mine.
Oh.
Brooklyn's.
Mum totally, she said to me, add more, put more in it, there's not enough.
I
And
did.
now it's humongous.
I did, okay. Look, don't worry about how this looks at the moment. We really just want the tins to keep its shape. If it comes out a little bit, you know, like wrinkly and things like that, does it really matter when it's smothered with custard? Does it really? No. Okay, so give me a few minutes and I'm going to put them into the water. Okay, so just give me a few minutes. So my water is boiling, okay, quite nicely, and I'm just going to drop these tins in there, okay, and then put the lid on top. Wait, I haven't got a lid. I lost the lid. Remember I told you I lost the lid in activity? Hey presto, instant lid. So, or I'm going to put either a plate or something over top of it just to keep as much heat in as possible, okay? I can't tell you how long it's going to take. It's a surprise. I'll let you know. Okay, so I'll get back to you soon. How long did that take, Liz?
Ages.
Yeah, an hour and a half? You know, it might have taken, not quite so, might have been shorter, the time might have been shorter if we had a decent lid. If you've got my lid, give it back. Okay, so here's one of our puddings. We've given it a stab. Whoop. It's come out clean, so we know it's ready. And give us a
Minute for Mum to figure it. Oh, hey! Magic.
magic, flippin' magic. So give us a few minutes and we'll let it cool down a bit and then show you what it looks like, eh? Right. Note to self: don't pull it out too quickly and chop it, otherwise it's going to crap itself like this one just has. But this is the second one that's come out. This is the one that wasn't quite as full, and it's great. It's terrific. So it's come out a good shape. It's come out a good size. So I'm just going to let that go cool. In the meanwhile, I have chopped a piece off, and it is
Like
just,
the chunkiest piece ever.
yeah. But look, check that out. Look at that. That is just yum. Really buttery and absolutely gorgeous. And made up just a quick custard just so that you guys can salivate. Oh, look at those little bits of lumps just to make it authentic. And pouring cream, the real thing. Okay, so that's our dessert for Christmas. If you want to make your burnt pudding, like I said, lots of people do it different ways. This is our way. Most of the time we've done them in bags, you know, we've done boiled puddings and things, but this works just as well, and a lot easier to get it off the cloth. Anyway, that's it. That took an hour and a half to cook, an hour and a half in that pot. Like I said, it may be a bit quicker if you put it with the sealed lid, but somebody out there has mine, so if you've got it, give it back. Okay, so that's it. Hope you guys are well. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Ka kite anō.